Hello, and thank you for joining us today for this version sneak peek webinar from the Trimble Structures division. Before we get started, please just note this is not training, and also with regard to content, it's far from all the new Tekla software versions have for you. So when we've finished presenting today's content, do make sure your next step is to contact your local Tekla dealer to find out more. Just a bit of housekeeping. We have had some reports that there are issues with the audio on GoToWebinar. If you have difficulties, do please use the control panel to interact with us. But default advice is that GoToWebinar audio will use your machine's default audio settings. So do please check that before we get going. I'm your host, Philip. I'm the marketing manager of our structural engineering business. And today it's my great pleasure to introduce my three colleagues who are working with me. Anish Patel is our technical manager for analysis and design solutions. Sam Cummings is a product manager for Tekla Structures with a specialism in rebar detailing productivity. And David Lash is also a product manager for Tekla Structures, and his focus is on engineering, design, communication, and collaboration. In addition to the four of us, we also have a guest spot from a colleague called Andy Dickey, but more of that later. Today, we are addressing products and services yet to be released, so I would like to draw our disclaimer to your attention. And whilst you digest that disclaimer, can I inform you that, as usual, this webinar is being recorded. You will, as registrars, will get a link sent to your email inbox that you use to sign up. And if you want to advise anyone else to watch the webinar, they can get access to that recording by registering at the same place that you did for this webinar, tekla.com. So today's content produced by Anish, Sam and David has been pre-prepared, but that means that we can guarantee the quality, and Anish, Sam and David are all here with us live, ready and willing to answer questions. So in a slight change from the norm, you can ask us questions at any time and get an answer through the GoToWebinar question tool. We will, if time allows, hold back a couple of questions to answer live after the presentation. We will try and answer as many questions as possible via the question tool. So questions relevant to today's content would be great. If a question occurs to you after the fact, you can submit it by email to tekla.webinar@trimble.com email address, and you may well receive an answer to your question from that email address if we have to answer after the webinar shuts. Our goal in the next 45 or so minutes is to look at the latest developments, or at least the highlights of the latest developments in Tekla software to improve structural engineering productivity. Just to confirm, the products to be presented today are Tekla TIS and Tekla Structural Designer, our analysis and design pair of products, and also Tekla Structures, our truly constructible building information modeling application. We will be looking at all three of those products. So we will begin, as mentioned, with a few words from Andy Dickey, one of our business development managers, who is going to set the scene for you and explain why with version 2021, different is going to be better for you. Our content will be opened by Anish Patel, who is going to present some of the highlights of Tekla Structural Designer. Tekla Structures with Sam Cummings follows, looking at rebar detailing, and David Lash will be talking about general design communication using Tekla Structures, with Anish returning to give you the highlights of Tekla TIS before we close. So Without further ado, I would kindly ask you to close all other applications that can go to webinar. Watch the webinar full screen. There's lots of lovely animations and it'll improve your experience. And I'm going to now hand over to Andy Dickey, who will tell you more about different but better.
Hi, everyone. I'm Andy. I'm one of the business development managers here at Trimble, and it is my distinct pleasure to introduce to you all what has been a labor of love for all of us here on the entire team, our brand new subscription lineup for 2021. We asked our customers what they love about Tekla structures, and you can see here on the screen what they had to say. The wide variety of examples that you see here really show how our offering has evolved over many years to cover a wide variety of workflows, customer groups, and their needs. And I have personally been lucky enough to be present for a lot of it. It really shows the laser focus that we have on our customers, and I can say that that's something that really comes quite naturally to us and is definitely in our DNA. This customer focus has been a really good thing for us and for the customers, obviously, as evidenced by what you see here on the screen, but it has also come with challenges. We have over 10 configurations, and it can be really tricky for customers, particularly new customers, to know what to buy. For us, it can also be tricky because we need to decide what configurations the new tools that we make should go in. And we really decided that, hey, it's time for a change. So we've designed the subscription offering based on three main pillars. The first is simple, which means simple to understand and buy. Second, easy to learn and use. And then lastly, flexible in order to meet customer needs while also keeping in mind our customer focused tradition. So, with that said, let's have a look at the new lineup. Our new lineup begins with Tekla Structures Carbon. It's our viewing and collaboration offering. You can open models, extract data, and it definitely complements a lot of workflows. The second is Graphite, which is designed to deliver value to general engineering and construction users, but it also provides constructible modeling at a modest price. Graphite, I can say, really does beg the question, why let different stand in the way of better? And then finally, we have Diamond, which is intended to extend our customers' capabilities, enabling them to detail in any material, coupled with unrivaled level of automation and downstream connectivity, making it the most powerful BIM software solution in the space. For our existing customers who want to get their head wrapped around how the 11 perpetual license configurations map to the new subscription offering, this table is a very handy tool to help understand that, I think. It also makes clear really why we need to consolidate our offering. We're really taking something that was getting a bit complex and really boiling it down to its most simple elements. Having been in charge of software deployment myself, I'm particularly excited about this next improvement. Our new subscription offering is going to deliver online cloud licensing that really puts you, the user or the administrator, in control. So not only is it simple and easy to deploy with minimal overhead, it is also very flexible, helping you to adapt to new ways of remote working that a lot of us are facing. You also have the power now to study usage data and to make more informed decisions about your ongoing and future needs. When you're ready to have a look, we believe that you will find our new subscription offering simple, easy, and flexible, but also an excellent value. So ask yourself, why let different stand in the way of better? We hope you enjoy the presentations that are coming up. We hope you enjoy the new 2021 features as much as we enjoyed making them. And thanks for joining us, and I'll throw it back to the team now.
Thanks, Andy, and hello everyone, and welcome to the highlights for Tekla Structural Designer 2021 version. Tekla Structural Designer is software that gives engineers the power to analyze and design structures efficiently and profitably. Fully automated and packed with many unique features for optimized concrete and steel design, from the quick comparison of alternative design schemes through to cost-effective change management and seamless beam collaboration. The 5 main highlights for today: Embodied Carbon Calculator, integrated baseplate design, cracked concrete properties enhancements, sway drift check enhancements, industrial development update including equipment loading, fire protection, and wind impact on open structures, and some further enhancements and updates. The Embodied Carbon Calculator. In the previous webinar, you saw our collaboration with One-Click LCA. But now the new carbon calculator within Tekla Structural Designer equips engineers with insight into the embodied carbon in their schemes at a very early stage of design. The assessment is simple, quick, and instantaneous. Specify the embodied carbon factors, ECFs, you wish to assign. Some defaults are provided, but these can be adjusted. With the analysis and design completed, Tekla Structural Designer will automatically calculate the embedded carbon values for the multi-material structure created. You can then review the design utilization values and compare it with the embodied carbon for the member. Graphical filters are provided to show the members with the highest percentage of carbon use. Users now have the ability to optimize the design performance but taking account of the carbon effects of the constructed model. A detailed carbon overview is available in tabular and report formats. Engineers can now compare different scheme options. Example, changing the construction method of the simple beams to a composite beam, an integrated steel beam and concrete slab arrangement. Then compare the embodied carbon values very early in the design scheme. The information can be reported at a summary level or be broken down even further by materials, members, etc. Using Tekla Structural Designer, you can compare the embodied carbon versus the design utilizations, which allow you to assess and compare the carbon impact very early in the design process. Baseplate design. New for 2021 within Tekla Structural Designer, base plates can now be modeled and checked to comply with both Eurocode 3 and US simplified design codes. For a streamlined and more efficient design workflow, base plates are automatically added when modeling a steel column. Use the Add Baseplate command for older existing models. The scene contents can then be used to control graphically any object on the screen. The connection is automatically sized dependent on the steel column, including plates, bolts, welds, etc. Editing of the connection is available from the Properties window, and the example is showing the adjustment to the bolt arrangement. The base connections are grouped for similar column sections, which provides uniformity and rationalization and the ability to edit the connection for the whole group. Base plates can be code checked to EC and US simplified codes along with detailed design information immediately accessible. Design reports are easily generated along with instant connection baseplate drawings. In Tekla Structural Designer 2021, engineers have more options with the design of concrete structures thanks to the new cracked concrete properties feature. Previously, the only controls available to the user for analysis and design was assumed cracked, yes or no, with further manipulation of the section and the material being used via the modification factors. This then had implications in the analysis and design for deflection and stresses, with the options giving extreme analysis values. Users had the ability to account for any intermediate effects by adjustment of the modification values. A new option of partial, which can be applied to any concrete 1D member, a percentage value must be given between 0 and 100%, which can be applied to the whole member or individual stacks or panels. The graphical view of show alter state can be used to apply concrete properties. The toggle features allows you to cycle between options, with the set on option allowing a defined value to be applied to a member graphically. Setting the partial value of 0 or 100% will be the same as assumed cracked being yes or no. We can see the deflection result of a partial value of 50%, with allowed further manipulation via the modification factors. Sway and drift check enhancements. Previous drift results were given by stack position with no referencing to the construction levels in the generated model. A new button of 3D only static analysis option has been added to gain access to 3D analysis results and calculations without proceeding through the multiple analysis chasedowns and the design process. All sway drift results will be listed with the associated construction level and member references. Each construction level will list the critical members dependent on the sway drift check performed. Sway and drift checks can be controlled by the level and the properties window, with global checks applicable dependent on the design head code. Individual controls via the vertical member with the ability to override the global values and the option to merge stacks if short members exist. Each construction level will list the critical members dependent on the sway or drift check, with immediate access to tabulated summary results via the right-click context menu, which can be simplified and filtered via the toolbar. The drift sway results information expanded to include level information, member references, associated stack number, critical combination, design values and details, automatically the critical members given for direction 1 and direction 2 on 2 lines. Further information can be seen via individual selected combinations and even a full tabular view level where all stacks are reported. All reports in the tabular view can be instantly exported to Excel. Brand new features in the industrial development, but these features can be used on any type of structure or model. Equipment loading. A new option has been added to Tekla Structural Designer in the modeling of equipment and loading objects. Equipment loading can have the following shapes: sphere, vertical cylinder, horizontal cylinder, and a cuboid. Entering the dimensions of the equipment loading, the shape, and graphically selecting the positions of support. Note, equipment loading supports must be on a single plane. Graphical representation of the equipment load shown. The place equipment load can be edited and altered via the properties window, here showing a horizontal cylinder and quickly changing to show a sphere. We have further manipulation options, for example geometry, adjustments in altering the base position. By default, all loadings applied are 0 and can be applied at the center of gravity position or at the support positions. Individual loads can be placed and defined at the support positions. Automatically, equipment load cases are generated, with a new option to apply impact loading on the equipment. More on this later. Equipment loads can be graphically copied and duplicated like any other object in Tekla Structural Designer, simply via the right-click menu or the Edit command tab. Fire protection. Fire protection can now be specified in the analysis and design model by the user, can be applied to any 1D member and is applicable to any head code. Selecting any 1D member in the model, under fireproofing, select fire protection. Options to set the exposure conditions, fully surrounded or only on 3 sides. Is the top plane of the flange exposed? Set the fire protection shape, of contour or encased. Then specify the fire protection material properties, thickness, density, Automatically, the fire protection weight is calculated per unit length and displayed, and these options can also be added via the individual member properties. Show Alter State can be then used to graphically show, edit, and apply which elements have fire protection. Example, adding fire protection graphically with defined values. Any fire protection specified automatically adds the additional load of the protection to the self-weight load case of the member and is then analyzed. The differences can be seen by looking at the analysis information. Wind impact loading on open structures. A new feature added to Tekla Structural Designer 2021 is the ability to add wind impact loading to members and objects. A model with ancillary line and area loads along with equipment loading. All elements shown can be subjected to impact wind loading. Select any 1D element that is subjected to wind. Pick the option Apply Open Structure Wind, with a further option to adjust the shape factor of the member. Adjustment of the wind load effect on the member. Any ancillary or equipment objects applied to the structure can be subjected to wind, with the ability to adjust the application area. Additional options on equipment loading to adjust the surface roughness and end shape conditions on horizontal cylinders. The defaults for impact loading on objects can be found in the settings. A graphical show alter state can be used to graphically view and edit the objects subjected to impact wind. With the members selected, run the wind wizard, ensuring the option Apply Open Structure Wind Load is selected. Complete the wind wizard to generate the wind forces for any directions considered. Generate the wind load cases using the Auto option, and then create the load combination using the Combo wizard, and then conduct an analysis and design. The decomposed wind loading can be seen by selecting a directional view and a wind load case. Decomposed wind loading can be seen on the individual member by selecting Member Loading. Graphical decomposition via a selected load case showing the wind impact loading on the structure. And finally, the wind loading shown applied to the structure via a deflection diagram. So a few more enhancements and updates. Automatic backups. Tekla Structural Designer will automatically back up a number of project archives in a local location. Portal frame design. Class 4 Eurocode haunch classification enhancements. Lateral load check on piles, dealing with forces generated when loading applied at eccentricities. General material slabs. Finite element construction of slabs of any material. Grasshopper slab plugin. New slabs or panel plugin for Grasshopper. ACI 318 Part 19 Gravity and Seismic Design. Several updates to the design criteria. And several fixes and updates in this release. So that's a brief insight into Tekla Structural Designer and the 2021 release. All the videos can be seen on YouTube or Tour Tekla User Assistance. Thank you for your time and listening to this webinar. I'm now going to pass you on to Sam to see the updates in Tekla Structures, Rebar and integration. Thank you.
Thanks, Anish. Hello everyone and welcome to the highlights for reinforcement in the upcoming 2021 version. Over the next 10 minutes I have 4 main highlights for you. Take your Tekla Structural Design to the next level with the new Rebar Link, batch editing features for enhanced productivity, list your model objects with the new List Manager, and of course a short look at the smaller features and general improvements. Take your design to detail workflow to the next level in 2021 with the release of the Tekla Structural Designer link to the Rebar sets in Tekla Structures. You can now automatically detail your columns, beams, slabs and footings based on the design. In just a few clicks, control the level of detail you show, or which objects you wish to detail. The dialog gives you step-by-step details of the processes it's going through and shows any errors you might find when transferring the design from Tekla Structural Designer. Laps, cranks, layers and placement are identical to the output you get from the 2D drawings in Structural Designer, but now you get a collaborative 3D model for free. This transfer is harnessing the power of the rebar sets, meaning that you can rapidly change the arrangement of bars or the details to declash and provide high quality detailing with less effort and much less rework. With Tekla Structural Designer open, you can quickly validate the import against design ready for further work. Alternatively, you can choose to import only one detailed instance of a group by selecting once per design group. From here, change or update the rebar before copying around the model using the tracking data automatically brought through from Tekla Structural Designer. Make your design iteration more productive by sending this model to Trimble Connect and share details with project stakeholders. Review the design, details, and discuss alternatives in a non-destructive way with the to-do features in Trimble Connect. Edit your way to profit with the new batch editing tools. Make repetitive manual detailing a real thing of the past by combining the Tekla Structural Designer Rebar Link, the design data, and the new batch editing feature. You may have noticed the ability to import either native reinforcement, meaning Tekla will detail for you based on the design, or import these as a reference. This is a key feature if you're sharing designs with other stakeholders. Using the IFC exports, you can now represent the design as a 3D interactive model that cannot be changed, but has all the relevant details such as size, space, grade, and much more. You can view this data in a number of ways, but the fastest is using the Inquire. You can see there all of the basics, including the Tekla Structural Designer fabrication information. Using the rebar sets in Tekla means you can quickly replicate the detail or make appropriate changes. The rebar sets are fast, intuitive, and highly malleable. Rebar sets are intelligent and understand their relativity to other objects. Reading the cover values from Tekla Structural Designer, the sets then automatically layer. Using the IFC as a reference has outstanding advantages when detailing. You can spot clashes and areas of concern well before putting mouse to model, or ensure the bars are perfectly relative to their designed counterparts. When you're done with the specific area, you can easily turn the IFC off and continue to move to other areas. You're changing the details from the original design. It's been verified and now you're ready to make the changes. There's no need to delete and detail all, or even select the object to find the others and then copy them around. You now have the power of the batch editor. The editor works on assemblies and finds identical or similar objects. Not only does it find them, it'll tell you what's different. And again, harnessing the power of data transfer, the batch editor can read the design groups from Tekla Structural Designer and show you which details go where. From there, with a single click, you're copying all around the model and making sure your details are exactly the same. List, report, and issue model objects with full property tracking faster than ever. The List Manager extension is a powerful enhancement that improves quality and productivity by enabling more efficient listing and reporting of Tekla model objects. These model objects have fully trackable properties. Repetitive work is reduced by saving multiple reports to be generated all at the same time. This case uses a BS 8666 rebar schedule template so that you can quickly and easily create rebar lists. The tool allows for fast naming and management to ensure that you can quickly and easily track your objects and lists throughout the project. Assign multiple reports and batch them together. Assigning multiple reports is especially useful as it allows you to filter the content of objects like pores very easily. To improve quality and productivity, the List Manager also harnesses Tekla's powerful change detection. Any model update will automatically be detected. Here we can see how edits, deletes, or additions are handled inside the list. We've also plugged the tool into Tekla's numbering so that out-of-date reports can never be accidentally issued. Instead, the usual prompts are there to ensure workflow accuracy and minimize human error, allowing you to focus on productive detailing while Tekla manages the model. Once the numbering of listed objects is up to date, easily review the list changes before revisioning any reports to avoid unnecessary rework. When you're happy, revise the lists and issue to a previous issue or to a new one. generating PDFs, Excel sheets, or Tekla reports into newly created folders. The file is named appropriately with the name and revision for easy tracking. The game changer here is once you've issued reports, the list manager automatically writes the list data to the parts and rebars. This can change the way we collaborate, check and issue to project stakeholders, or internally take your model, drawing data, and lists to IFC format, where it can be reviewed but not edited in Trimble Connect. Discuss and close off RFIs or display all the data you need with the organizer and property sets. Here we can see how model data is combined from both Tekla Structural Designer and Tekla Structures, as well as Tekla Structures tools. Easily share, track, review, and report in a non-destructive way, and easily customize data tables into easily recognizable objects with inbuilt features. Enhance the collaboration all the way to site from design with the Trimble connected ecosystem. Let's now take a look at the general improvements and smaller features. Of course, the updates don't stop there. We've added 2 new huge features to simplify editing bars in the new follow edges and the ability to group tapered curved bars as well as similar bars. In addition to these new features, you'll find a new Rebar tab in the ribbon to further simplify the software and enhance the usability. Usability remains a high priority and you'll find smaller enhancements to make sure you're more productive with Tekla. There are many great webinars in the future showing great new features, and as always, you should contact your local Tekla office or reseller for a full briefing on the latest version. We're now going to go to David Lash for the general design improvements.
Let's take a look now at what's new in 2021 for Tekla Structures and general design. Of course, we know that as a consultant involved in those early stages of design, your concerns are very broad, and so it's important to you that you work well as a critical part of a wider project team. So a big focus for the software is that it works extremely well with those other players, whether you're an industrial or in the AEC design teams. And the tasks that you have as part of your consultancy are very broad. So we've seen earlier in the webinar how Tekla Structural Designer is able to address the needs at an analysis and design stage. And we've seen previously in the webinar too where Tekla Structures is able to comprehensively deliver on the rebar detailing of a project phase. And these phases in between, from the very early down to handover, are also areas which Tekla Structures seeks to address. So whether that's working from preliminary structural layout, as you can see on the screen, right down through structural analysis, working with Structural Designer, Tekla Structural Designer, or with other softwares, if you're working in STARD or Rebar and other analysis packages in other regions. If you're doing secondary structures, like secondary steel and the like, or even traffic items in industrial, such as the stairs or handrails and that kind of thing, an industrial plant. Connections, management or design and management, crash detection, rebar detailing, just the basic design bar, and then documenting that, more detail and even review processes as you go out towards the fabrication end of the workflow. All along that whole continuum, you'll find that Tekla Structures delivers really good quality, highly productive functionality to help you to get the job done. So in 2021, just some more development that we've released in order to aid those workflows are, for example, we have now for the Aviva add-in, so this is an add-in for the Aviva software, E3D or PDMS. We've included now a model exporter for higher quality export. And also we've included the IFC export from Aviva as an option. So you can choose to export either the plant through the native exporter or through our own tool. Also on the Tekla Structure side, with this incoming geometry coming through from Aviva, or actually any software which is sharing their 3D model with Tekla Structures, we have a much improved change detection which is available. We'll come back to that later. We have the BIM publisher, which is immensely popular with teams who are doing constant collaboration work with others in the project team, has been updated to work with the new licensing system. And we have a much smarter clash checker. You're able now to read the RVT Revit file native into Connect and also into Tekla structures. We have concrete modeling improvements. We have an update to the Visualiser and fast and easy drawing sheets changes. So as part of your work, of course, you need to explore the design and resolve engineering issues. One new feature we have released this year, which is available in the Diamond license, is the ability then to propagate changes across the model, even where you have not allocated fabrication numbers to these elements. This tool is intelligent enough in order to find the common parts and shapes and then propagate changes across them. So it helps you to model faster, explore alternatives faster, and get your alternatives back to your design team and build a stronger reputation for design. Also now you can model to resolve concrete geometry issues more simply. Allows you to explore options for the design much more easily. This is available from Warehouse, and this means that we have complex horizontal element conditions, such as a sloping slab or a dropping ground beam is here. You're able to use that as a defining cut for elements which are resting on that slab or on this ground beam in this case. So even as you move those elements and edit those elements, they will retain their relationship to each other. Also, a key part of any office is bringing new members in into the teams, and so there's always a learning process. Now we're able to help your team to learn on the job. So we have an instructor panel. So as you work through the software, whether you're modeling or reporting, you'll find on the right-hand side that the instructor panel will follow you as you go and will give you instructions and tips and good advice on how you could possibly do things better. Combination of text information or visual pictures or even videos are included. In this case, for the IFC conversion, we link out to a YouTube video as well. So that's to help your team just to pick up the skills they need to help get the job done and increase your productivity. Next, for helping you to quickly and easily satisfy the Office standards, a few changes here. A significant one being we have now introduced a way to easily manage the GA drawing sheets. So you can see here we have a Office template, a standard template for the GA. We find we've run out of room, and so we take that layout and we're going to bring it down and into a space where we can leave it on the drawing, but in a different position. Has that broken the master template for that project? No. So when we bring up the next drawing, you can see that that layout is still the same for that master Office, that layout for that sheet. And if we go back and look at this one again, we can say, well, it hasn't changed. We've just made a slight update, but the change is undoable if you want to. You can always push it back to how it was before. So this allows you to make small changes to your drawing sheets without having to make a whole new drawing sheet standard. Don't forget also of the previous updates over the last few years on the GA side for helping to make edits to the things like marks and annotation quickly in order to help you to reach an Office standard as fast as you can. So in this case here, we can see we can take all these marks, we can align them, we can choose to the way that the leaders will align up to the parts in the drawing. And then once that's done, you can also double check to make sure that all the parts are marked. Here you can see that those objects are not marked, and then you can select them from this drawing content manager and then you're able to add a mark from that list. And so that way you can be sure that all the parts are marked that need to be marked for this particular revision, and you can get that drawing finished out the door much faster. Concerning working efficiently with the project team, this is a big part of what an engineering office will do. You're constantly in cross-design team workflows. Take a look at the BIM publisher, which works the weekend so you guys don't have to. This will automate tasks overnight and on weekends. It includes the ability to export IFCs or DWGs or DGNs, as you can see on the screen there, as well as create drawings from settings and also to run macros. And this now works with the online licensing, which would help this to work within networks where there may have been issues before with getting access to license as the software runs kind of overnight over weekends. Also, we have for 2021 the ability to read RVT files. So you can see here inside Trimble Connect, if you can load this into the web software, the desktop software, and the RVT will load into the desktop Connect, and it will automatically generate the geometry. And the RVT is then available for viewing and also for downloading by all other parties. So Trimble Connect comes with your Tekla Structures subscription license and your perpetual license as well. And this gives you the ability then to preview RVTs before bringing them into Tekla Structures, which is now possible. So you can now, in the same way as referencing a DWG or an IFC, you can now reference an RVT file as well. And so in the cases where the project is not generating IFCs, this will give you that ability then to at least reference these in and coordinate against those files. Improvements also for working with industrial teams to ensure that you are definitely a good player within that design team. So we see now with the Aviva PDMS link, you can now export the DGN files or the TCZIP files on as a batch export. So you can produce many different kind of system files very quickly, and also the ability there to export the equipment either through the native Aviva IFC export or through the installation which we offer. So the native IFC will give you much better geometry, and so that way you can coordinate against that geometry with a high level accuracy and reduce any conflicts and head RFIs off early. New also is the ability to track changes. So you'll see in the screen there is the model, which is the reference model, which is sitting inside Trimble Connect. There we bring together all of the reference models needed, and as you need them, you can then download them into your project so the whole team keeps up to date. And as they are versioned in Trimble Connect, you can also compare changes of those reference models as they are overlaid into your project. And here you can see the new and the deleted architectural elements. So you know very quickly what has changed between models and can keep track of progress. This helps you to stop those RFIs at the source. And this also works for DGN files too, so it's great for industrial and also for AEC architectural workflows. Clash checking has also been improved with a smarter algorithm. So the same algorithms are running inside Trimble Connect. Here you can see the clash check inside Connect and also the clash check inside Tekla Structures. You can choose to where you do that kind of work. And this is a great way so that you can establish if the design team is making changes which need to be addressed. and also you can check your own design before you send it out to the design team to make sure it is clash free. Also, we have an update to the Visualiser, so now you're able to create your own materials. This is a great way to communicate the high value work you have been doing in a model. You're able to visualize those that structure with the correct coloring, if there's painted steel, or in this case there might be mass timber flooring. And the renderer is a high quality Unity-based renderer, and you can choose and build these materials as you like to help you to communicate clearly and get the design signed off as fast as possible so you can get on with your work. And that's all we have time for you today. Unfortunately, there's a lot more obviously that's gone into the version, which you can pick up from the version release website or from the release notes as well. Back to you, Anish.
Thanks, David, and hello everyone, and welcome to the highlights for Tekla TIS in the upcoming 2021 version. Tekla TIS is a powerful, easy-to-use structural analysis software from Trimble. Developed to meet the needs of the structural engineering workflow and designed to help you automate your repetitive structural calculations. Choose one or more of our regularly updated calculations in the library, or write your own and publish a professional document which is concise and easy to follow. The 5 main highlights for you: enhancement to the steel connection design to Eurocode with full depth templates, a new steel masonry support calculation, timber racking loads to Eurocodes, brand new calculation of steel to concrete connection design, and finally some further enhancements and updates. The steel connection design calculation has now been updated to include the design of full depth end plates, beam to beam or beam to column, which is simple in nature. The design is conducted to Eurocode and is applicable to several national annexes or the recommended Eurocode values. The design checks the connections for shear and tying forces and automatically sizes the connection for the given beam size. The connection allows several connection types, with an updated connection sketch with a preview of the design results before the published calculation document is produced. The published document lists all calculations, equations, and codes of practices, which is transparent and easy to follow. The steel masonry support, which can take up many forms, can be designed for bending, deflection, and fixings to Eurocodes and all national annexes. Possibilities for the supporting member can be designed as a stainless steel cold form angle, mild steel angle, or a flat plate welded to a section subjected to torsion. Connecting bolts and weld capacities can also be checked where applicable. The input options are detailed and easy to follow, with additional notes for further information. The design results can be generated before the detailed document is produced. Onto the timber frame racking loads calculation. For a multi-story rectangular building with a roof, the calculation determines the forces generated by lateral wind to be resisted by timber frame panels. Several roof type constructions are allowed, from flat, monopitch, duo-pitch to hipped roofs. Position of peak velocities, internal pressures, and the ability to specify windward wall division of parts. Specify the wind load directions, any masonry shielding, and the ability to adjust any structural factors. The calculation has been designed in accordance to Eurocode EN 1991 and is applicable to several national annexes. New calculation of steel to concrete connection design. Check the design of a simply supported beam connected to an embedded plate via a welded fin plate for shear and tying forces. Select from a wide database of sections with the ability to adjust the concrete properties and partial factors. And specifying the connecting wall details and the connection properties. The embedded plate details can be specified, including rebar anchor, and plate geometry. The interactive graphical sketch will adjust to your input parameters and the ability to preview the results before the final output is published. Designed to Eurocode and applicable to all national annexes. So a few enhancements and updates. Steel beam torsion design. Design of a simple steel beam subjected to torsional forces to Eurocodes. Steel beam supporting hollow core slab design. The design checks a single span simply supported beam in a slim 4 beam construction. Foundation analysis and design. Design of pad or strip foundations in reinforced or unreinforced concrete. Precast concrete hollow core slab design. Design of a simply supported single span hollow core slab under uniform area load. US library modernizations, which enhances 33 calculations in the library. Further updates and enhancements like Swedish National Annex update, crane girder gantry design, precast sleeve design, further batch design calculation examples, enhanced project manager functions, and much, much more. Please remember that TEDS is released on the monthly update delivery system. Please always check for updates. So that's a brief insight into Tekla TEDS in this 2021 release. The videos can be seen on YouTube or Tour Tekla User Assistance. Thank you for your time and listening to this webinar. I'm going to pass you back to Philip for the question and answer session. Again, thank you.
Thank you, Anish, Sam, and David. That was all very good. We're pretty much done for today, but I just want to let you know, if you want to know more about our version, there are webinars all this week. March 9th, tomorrow, structural steel detailing and fabrication. Wednesday 10th, cast in place concrete pour planning. And on the 11th, precast concrete detailing and fabrication. Possibly the most important date, March 17th, is when Tekla 2021 will be released and can be procured at the usual place, download.tekla.com. We do have time for some questions, and we've held a couple back to deal with for everyone to hear. So I'm going to pose one to you first, Sam, because I think it's an important one. One of our viewers, Keith, is asking for some clarification about how we are delivering the batch editing tools. David mentioned that it was going to be in the new Diamond subscription, but his question is, how does it map to the perpetual licensing? So perhaps you can come back on that, Sam.
Thanks, Philip. Yeah, hi everyone. So if you are a perpetual customer of ours, you'll find that in a rebar detailing configuration, a precast configuration, and also a steel detailing configuration, you will have access to the batch editor come March the 17th. As David already mentioned, if you become a subscription customer, then that will be in our Diamond license. So not the graphite, but the Diamond.
Thank you, Sam. And if I could call on Anish, could you perhaps give us a bit more information? Carbon calculator, going all the way back to Tekla Structural Designer at the start. Will ECFs be provided, or can we provide our own? Where is the best place to get that information?
Hi, Philip. Yes, general ECFs will be provided within the software so that you can get an immediate calculation for your carbon for the structure that you have created. But more detailed ECFs will be provided by the manufacturers of the elements that you are wanting to use in the modeling of your structure. So that will be a great place to start. You have full control over which elements are associated with which embedded carbon factors.
Okay, thank you, Anish. Just a reminder, if we've not answered your question live in the webinar and we don't hit it now in the next couple of minutes, we will get an answer to you. We'll email you. You'll receive that answer from tekla.webinar@trimble.co. Question I'll ask David to come back on. We've got a question from Hillary about referencing a Revit file direct into Tekla structures. Can that be done?
Yeah, sure. That's new for this year is now you can bring a Revit file direct into Tekla in the same way you would an IFC. So on those projects where perhaps the team aren't comfortable or not familiar with using OpenBIM and kind of ISO standard IFC files, they can certainly send you a Revit file, 2021 Revit, and we can import that direct into Tekla. Alternatively, they could send it to you by uploading through Trimble Connect Desktop. That'll appear inside Trimble Connect on the cloud, and anyone then can access that and view that model and then download it. So all good news, working with the design team in the formats that work best for everyone. So thanks very much, Philip.
Thank you, David. This slide may look the same, but I'm back plugging webinars on April the 7th, forgive me. We'd like to invite you to join us to look at, in more detail of how we are re-engineering structural concrete detailing design for rebar. Sam has put together a load of more detailed content with regard to rebar detailing. April the 7th, the registration page is open now at tekla.com, and I'm sure something may pop into your inbox if you're in the engineering space with concrete structures. A reminder again, Tekla 2021 will be released on March 17th. It only falls to me now. Thank you for actually listening to us, registering and turning up. You will get your recording link sent to you. Thanks to my colleagues, Anish, Sam, David, and Andy Dickey for creating the content. Hopefully you'll join us for our next webinar that is relevant to you. Thank you and goodbye for today.